And welcome back to the Miami. No. And welcome back to the Florida only challenge here on Madden 23. We're about halfway through with season 1, and the team is struggling. There are some interesting pieces that we have on both offense and defense, but the team really isn't coming together and playing very well on offense. Main struggles are offensive line, and Jameis Winston has thrown way too many interceptions. We've put in a 50-something overall quarterback to try to help us, and we just don't end up going anywhere. On defense, we have some playmakers here and there and some guys playing above what their overall suggests they should. But again, nothing spectacular. Our defense is a 79 overall. Our offense is a 73. The end of last episode, we dropped to 2-5-1. We've basically said this first season, we're not going to get anywhere. We need to start focusing on building the team for future success. So a huge part of that is scouting, is finding guys to draft that can help build this team. And unfortunately, our weakest part of the team, our offense, has the weakest potential draftees. We'll go through. We only knew that there was going to be a potential undrafted quarterback, and he's very much that, a potential undrafted who's even gone down 14 spots. In the running back department, there is Nicholas Mills, who hasn't gone down at all, listed around 2 to 3. So you're like, okay, he's a receiving back, and he is very much not a running back. At least from what I've seen, he's not a running back. He has F ball carrier vision and C carrying. I don't care what the rest of your ratings are. If you don't have the vision to utilize the rest of your ability, you're not going to go anywhere. He does have A to C for pretty much all of the receiving traits. So he actually might end up being the best available receiver, surprisingly enough. He's a bit on the smaller side. He doesn't have a lot of speed, so maybe a gadget kind of guy, but 5'8", 195 leaves a lot to be desired, specifically for the running back position. There's also Jarvis Allen. He's a power back who does have the ball carrier vision, the break tackle ability, with carrying being A to C. He's not very fast, not very quick. He's a slow power back and maybe someone we could bring in. We're not set at the running back spot, despite us wanting to have D'Ernest Johnson be good. It's not locked in key for sure. It's not locked in stone. Locked in key. Wow. It's not locked in stone. At the receiving group, we were very interested at the beginning, considering where there was a round 1 and a round 2 to 3. Our receiving group is fairly deep, but no top end guys, and neither of these two receivers look very interesting. So I'm not going to spend much time on them. I honestly probably wouldn't draft any of these receivers. Tight ends, we can maybe look late, but both of them have gone down in their rankings and they're already potential undrafted, so nothing catching my eye. Same goes for the offensive line. One left tackle dropped 128 spots. The day 3 guys here, at least Cordell Lamb, not good. Donnie Holcomb has the potential to maybe be a backup, but in terms of starting talent, there's really not much. Antonio Carr, possibly, more just out of the fact that there's a lot of older blockers on this team that aren't great to begin with. So Antonio Carr, some possibility. The A run block finesse is very intriguing. He does not have great power blocking, but it's not awful. So Antonio Carr is a possibility. Doesn't provide much strength, but he's athletic at least. And we're running a vertical zone, so an agile lineman would make sense. But then the rest of the offensive line, not very good. You go over to the defensive line, and honestly, I'm not too impressed either. Chauncey Pope supposedly has gone up 24 spots. I don't see anyone spectacular with him. He doesn't provide a lot of speed nor strength. And you look at his skills, he has next to no block shedding with very little power moves. He does have finesse moves, and as a round 3 to 4, if you get him in the 4th round, that's fine. But he's not someone that I'm like, oh, I gotta have him. And honestly, you could say the same about the defensive tackles too. You have Adonis Barnett, great name, but not a great defensive tackle with D block shedding. It's as much as I need to know at the DT spot. I need someone who could stop the run. And he doesn't really even provide any pass rush ability either. If you're going to look for a defensive tackle that provides pass rush, you do have Johnny Woodyard, who is okay. He has B finesse moves, we know for sure. Power moves can go up to a B to a D. And he's 23, so a little bit on the older side and still doesn't have much in terms of speed or strength, a little bit below average. So the line for both sides and the offensive skill players leave a lot to be desired. However, when you get to the back half, I guess you could say, of the defense, we have some pass cover linebackers, with J.C. Larkin being a day 3 with A to C zone. He is an outside linebacker, so you can't trust that completely. At the middle linebacker spot, we do have Chauncey Felder. And in the later rounds, I actually like him. Listed as a projected 3 to 4, might end up being a little bit higher. 6'1", 226, is 23 years old out of UCF. He's a very athletic linebacker with some speed, agility, and acceleration. In terms of his skills, A-zone, B-man. We don't have any pure pass cover linebackers on this team. The closest we have is Alex Anzalone, who is doing all right at that spot, and Keanu Neal, who's a strong safety. So we could definitely use some help at the linebacker spot. Chauncey Felder is definitely on my radar for that. And again, with a little bit of precaution, Stephen Gold out of Florida has A to C zone coverage as well, listed as pass coverage, day 3 picks. We need some guys to develop for our backup linebackers. So if they're still available and we have picks, we will go after him. Lonnie Perriman is definitely my one of top 2 guys. He's 6'2", 190, 22 years old, out of Florida State. When you look at his athletics, he has a lot of speed, has a lot of acceleration and agility, decent strength, especially for a corner. But then the ratings, B-man, A-press. I love a press man corner. Could very well fit what we're looking for here. He also has A hit power. So if he's not good enough to start on the outside, year 1, he starts at slot, and we utilize that hit power. He does have C-zone coverage. And then the last guy, Frank Stump at strong safety. We'll probably say he'd be my number 2 of my top 2. So the corner, Perriman, I think would be 1. 6 foot, 198, 21 years old, out of Miami. He's got a little bit of speed, a little bit of acceleration, and okay strength. But his skill set seems intriguing. He does have B zone coverage, B tackle. I don't know if I would play him at a strong safety, with block shedding being a D. With B hit power, you can consider it. Our safeties don't play too close down to the line all the time, so I think he could be a hybrid safety for us, kind of flex to either side depending where we need him. And because he has that position flexibility, he's high up on the radar because the rest of the draft really doesn't seem all too promising. So that leaves us here against Chicago. And I think from here on out, we need to start playing the younger guys above some of the vets, especially if they're close in overall, because the young guys need the development, because if they're not playing, they're not going to get better. And the older guys aren't going to be getting much better, if not regress at the end of the season. So I think it's time we not necessarily tank, but play for the future. And one of the future things here could be a breakout at receiver. And is it going to tell me who we're talking about? No, Van Jefferson, who did have a great game in his first game back last episode, the last game of last episode. So he needs 3+ touchdowns or 150+ total yards. We're going to be simming this game against Chicago. We will be simming most of these games, trying to focus more on finding future players. It'll be a little bit less of the on-field action and more of the off-the-field building kind of video here today. And of course, because Madden loves to not make sense, as soon as we go out and put in a bunch of the young guys, we get I think one of the largest point differential victories that we've had so far, 31-20 against Chicago. Do want to point out though that they were missing some of their running backs and quarterback as well. So it still took a 21-point fourth quarter for us to come back and win this game. Let's see how we did it. Jameis Winston threw for a little under 250, 2 touchdowns, still had that 1 interception, sacked 4 times, completed just shy of 70% of his passes. In the rushing department, D'Ernest Johnson averaged 4 yards a carry, got a touchdown on 79 yards, 20 carries. Winston, 18 on 6. Devontae Price, who's getting some running time, he got a touchdown, so that should help him develop a little bit. 2.7 yards a carry, not great, but we need to get some of these young guys out there, so that's very good for him. Marquez Valdez-Scantling leads us in receiving with 78 yards on 7 catches. Herndon, in his first start, got 2 touchdowns. He's our slowest tight end, but didn't seem to be a problem. He got the 2 touchdowns, 61 yards on 6 catches. Traquan Smith, going to see him out there a little bit more on the outside. Van Jefferson will play on the outside when we have a 2-receiver set and then go down to the slot whenever we're in a 3 set. And he did not have anywhere near what he needed to meet his breakout. So not doing too well on the breakout opportunities so far this season. And over on defense, 3-way tie for leading tackler Shaquille Griffin with 5, Tyir Tart with 5, and Nate Evans is getting the start at nickel linebacker. He has about the same man and zone cover skills as Perriman, so we'll get the young guy some opportunity, see what he can do, and he led the team in tackles. So, good job. As for tackles for a loss, had 6 today, 2 for Hendrickson and Phillips, and then 1 for Tart and Neal. And Jonathan Grenard, again, a younger guy finally getting some more playing time. He got a sack, and he will be one of our outside rushers. He'll play right end in the run formations, and then we go to nickel. He will stay out at that right end, and Hendrickson is now sliding down to play a little bit of some interior rush, which is a problem because he does not have any block shedding, but we'll do what we got to do. And Sheldrick Redwine, another young guy getting some play time, started at free safety. He got an INT today. All right, young guys, stepping up. I like to see it. Kicking game, 4 for 4 on extra points, but only 1 of 2 on field goals. Luckily, we still won. So I think from here, what I'm going to do is we're going to sim through a couple of these weeks, probably get to like week 14 or so. We'll watch maybe some of the later half of the season here, but I want to start looking through the NFL roster and finding guys who are available to us not on our team and seeing what the possibility would be of bringing them in. And after simming through a few weeks, now down to week 12, going through the bye, we've actually been able to put together a little bit of a win streak. We did beat the Browns. It was a close game, 28-24, and once again took a strong fourth quarter, 21 points, but at least we're getting the ball in the end zone. 4 touchdowns on the day I already saw for Jameis Winston. Still, though, 2 interceptions. Was sacked 3 times and completed 78% of his passes. In the rushing department, not a great day here for D'Ernest Johnson. 2.6 yards a carry, so need to see more of that. And I think after that game, I adjusted the sub-outs for the running back, so that way we would get Price out there a little bit more. Valdez-Scantling in this game, though, goes for a little over 100. 3 touchdowns on 6 catches. Van Jefferson, 100 on 9. Herndon, solid game once again. Traquan Smith, I saw a little bit of action, but not a whole lot. And D'Ernest Johnson got a touchdown at least through the air, so that'll help him progress a little bit as well. On the defense, Alex Anzalone leads the team in tackles with 11, Grenard with 9. And we only had 3 tackles for a loss, 1 for Anzalone, Phillips, and Hendrickson. But Grenard was in the backfield harassing the quarterback all day long. 3.5 sacks for him, 1 for Phillips, then half 1 for rookie Kier? I don't know, Thomas. And Shaquille Griffin also had an INT, I believe his second of the season. And in this game, no missed kicks. 4 for 4 on extra points, no field goals attempted. And we didn't need them. We got that 28-24 victory. That does, however, still leave us quite a few games behind the Bills, and unless we win the AFC East, I doubt there's any way we get into the playoffs. So let's take a look here at the tandem breakout we have for our offense. So we'll still sim through the Texans game, but breakout opportunities could really help us out in the future. Man, Marquez Valdez-Scantling took our last game over and couldn't be stopped. And this is Van Jefferson, who had only like 6 less yards than he did. So let's praise Van Jefferson because he still had 100 yards. You have the potential and talent to take over a game just like that. It's a matter of being on top of your game for all 4 quarters and not just the fourth quarter. I guess it's time to put on a show then. You call my number and you won't regret it. I'm ready to have a huge day. We'll see. Do we beat the Texans and continue our win streak? And we drop a close one to Houston, 14-10. We scored all of our points in the first half. Nothing for us in the second. They scored their points in the first and fourth quarter. So it would have been an interesting game to watch. Jameis Winston, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, sacked 3 times, completion percentage of 57. In the rushing game, not awful. D'Ernest Johnson, 3.5 yards a carry. Could definitely be better. And Devontae Price had 5 carries for 11 yards, so nothing great there. In the receiving department, Traquan Smith actually put together the better day, 82 yards on 6 catches, with Herndon getting the ball in the end zone on 8 catches for 73 yards. Van Jefferson, only 35 yards on 4 catches, so neither him nor Valdez-Scantling really took over this game. On the defense, though, Keanu Neal led us in tackles, Griffin and Anzalone both with 7. Hendrickson and Tart lead the team with 2 tackles for a loss each, and then Neal, Grenard, Perriman, and Phillips each had 1. And we actually had 3 interceptions, 1 for Keanu, 1 for Rhodes, and 1 again for Sheldrick Redwine. So we should see an upgrade for him pretty shortly. And 1 for both field goals and extra points for McPherson. So we know we didn't get the tandem breakout. We do have a breakout for a DB. I'm assuming it's going to be Redwine with 2 interceptions in the last 2, maybe 3 games. Another unfortunate thing, as I now see down here, another injury. We've had a lot of injuries this year, and it's going to be to our young corner in James Pierre. We'll maybe be back to play 1 or 2 more games at the end, and we'll watch the last couple games of the season, but that is unfortunate. So back in his place, Quentin Dunbar, or I can't even remember who our last Artie Burns, I believe, is our last corner. So it'll probably be a little mixture of both of them. But now I want to go through the NFL roster here and take a look for some guys that we could potentially bring in that could help us out. Obviously, we've done this a couple times already with the offensive line and quarterback. The only quarterback that we could bring in was Kyle Trask, and he's like a 60 overall. We tried to trade for him from the Jets, but they just weren't going to do it. They were steadfast in not wanting anything that we were going to offer that seemed reasonable. But a couple other positions we could check out on offense, one being running back and potentially receiver. So obviously, if we're going to talk about running backs out of Florida, the state of Florida, you can't skip over Dalvin Cook. Minnesota running back, obviously my favorite team. He would be a great guy to bring in, but I doubt he's going to be on any sort of short contract and would probably cost a lot to trade for him. And surprisingly, he only has 2 years remaining on his contract, and I believe that counts this season. So potentially Dalvin Cook could be maybe someone we try to trade for, and that would be a big upgrade at the running back spot. Past him, we do have Damian Pierce, a guy we played recently. He was a rookie, definitely someone we could try to bring in, but as being a rookie, he was probably drafted earlier in the fantasy draft. At least I would assume so. And yeah, he was definitely drafted early on. He has 5 years remaining. Doubt it would really be someone we could actually trade for. And a couple different options in the low 80s. Devin Singletary out of FAU. He's not very fast, though, and I would like a guy with at least more than 86 speed. The other option is Cam Akers out of Florida State, who does have that better speed. He is still a young guy, so I would imagine he would have at least 3 years on his deal. And I was close, 4 years. Maybe more potential to trade for him over any of the other guys. Maybe Dalvin Cook, but would probably take a lot more, as he would be 28 after this season. So maybe we could go after a guy like Cam Akers. It would take probably a pretty good trade, considering he is over or 80 overall and is 23 years old. In terms of receivers, the highest overall Florida receiver is Gabe Davis, 84 overall. That might be with the morale affecting that as well. Again, 23 years old. I expect him to have a 4 to 5 year deal. But that would be a big upgrade at receiver. I mean, route running, release, hands, speed would be a tremendous guy to add. But what all would we actually be able to do? I would actually am surprised he only has a 3-year deal. You can maybe try to make a trade for him depending on who else the Cleveland Browns have at receiver. Would maybe be interesting to try to work a deal out there when we get to the offseason, obviously well past the trade deadline currently. There is also Kadarius Toney or Tooney. I can never remember which one it is. A guy with some speed for sure. And I would assume he would have the same, if not less of a contract than what Gabe Davis does. Does not have much speed, would be a slot receiver. Could potentially take over for where T.Y. Hilton has been playing, and still would be the highest overall receiver we would have on roster. And he is only on a 2-year deal. So someone like Kadarius Toney would actually be, I think, a realistic trade for us at receiver. And of course, how could we have a Florida-only series and not talk about tight end Kyle Pitts? 21 years old in his 2nd season. A lot of speed, great hands. Not going to provide you any sort of run blocking, but that's not what you expect with Kyle Pitts. I assume he's probably on a 5-year deal. And yeah, indeed he is worth $20 million a season. I don't think there's any way we could trade for a guy like Kyle Pitts. Past him, there is David Njoku, an 84 overall, 26 years old, would still be a big improvement over who we currently have. And what I would assume maybe a 2 to 3 year deal. And I was wrong. It was actually a 4-year deal for Njoku. So maybe even then, still not someone we could look to try to trade for. There is Jonnu Smith out of Florida International. He will be 28 though, so would be an older guy. Wouldn't be a long-term solution, but could potentially be around for the full course of this series. So an option. And there is Harrison Bryant out of FAU. He's a younger guy, only a 72 overall, but he has good size, decent speed and hands. Acceleration is actually really good, with a little bit of run blocking ability. That would be an interesting guy to try to go after. I wouldn't imagine he would be on a huge deal. 3-year deal worth $1.25 a season. That's someone we could potentially trade for sure. And he's actually interested in coming here. So, yeah. Although now that I think about it, that might just be interest in the Steelers. So, maybe not. And we have already looked at offensive line. There are only 2 guys that we could potentially bring in that would make any sort of difference on the team. The first one being Trent Brown, who will be 30 after this season. Considering he's a higher overall, I would expect we wouldn't be able to pick him up, but he was available, I think, around the 10th round of the draft. And he's on a 3-year deal, so maybe someone we could trade for. Would probably still require a good bit, though. And the last offensive lineman who would make a really solid impact, again, depending on if he retires or regresses, is Rodney Hudson. He played at Florida State. He is 88 overall, so I would still imagine he's on a sizable deal. And yeah, he's on a 4-year deal, so not sure we would really be able to trade for him, but those are the 2 offensive linemen available for us to maybe try to work something out. As for the defensive line, Brian Burns played at Florida State. I really like Phillips, but maybe on the other side to replace JPP, we could look to bring someone else in. There's not really anyone in the draft really of any intrigue to me, so Brian Burns, solid option. There is also Greg Russo out of Miami, 22 years old. Again, I expect these younger guys to be under a good contract and probably really wouldn't be able to trade for them. And if you even go down into the 70s, there is a young Jermaine Johnson II who played at Florida State. So there's options for us at left end. At right end, there is an old Calais Campbell. He played at Miami a long time ago. But then we also have the next best guy in Trey Hendrickson. So I don't think right end is some position we necessarily have to go after. I would love an upgrade at DT, but there really isn't much of any upgrade. Derek Nottie is technically the highest overall, played at Florida State, but if you go down just a few spots, you get to Tyler Tart out of FIU, currently on our team, same overall, but a year younger, so we have the best available DT. We also have the best available left outside linebacker in Jalen Phillips, who's been playing very well for us. And once again, best middle linebacker available with Denzel Perriman. Maybe could be replaced if the linebacker in the draft is really good. He is strictly a run stopper, could stay on the team, but would be replaced in the nickel linebacker role because we need someone who could cover a lot more than what Perriman can offer. And at right outside linebacker, we have the best available once again with Jason Pierre-Paul, who could regress a lot if not retire after this season. And obviously at corner, there is Jalen Ramsey. Doubt there's any way we're trading for him in this series unless for some reason he gets cut or the team just can't re-sign him, but I doubt that would happen. And past him, we have the next best corner, Shaquille Griffin. So we're good there, and plus there's a good-looking corner in the draft, so we could address some depth, if not youth, improvement for the cornerback group in the draft. At free safety, once again, we have the best available with LaMarcus Joyner, who will be 32, will probably regress a little bit, but we've seen Sheldrick Redwine play really well the last few games, might be the breakout player, so we have a potential there as well as a safety in the draft class that looks promising that could either maybe play free safety or strong safety. But at strong safety, you got to talk about Derwin James. Really wish we could bring him in, but again, probably under a 5-year deal worth a lot of money. So doubt Derwin James will be joining the team unless we just have a draft where there's literally no one we want and we just send away all of our picks to bring players in. Past him, though, there's still some good safeties. CJ Gardner-Johnson, 24 years old. I would imagine maybe a 3 to 4 year contract for him. And I was actually a 5-year deal, so he's pretty much locked down. But just a few spots below him, there is Marcus May. Will be 30 next season, but probably would still be a solid guy to have. And then after all of those guys, there is Keanu Neal, who would be the next best. So we're not doing too bad across the board. There's just some players that we could definitely would make huge impacts. Not necessarily, I think, would be available. If we are to bring in any of the guys we talked about today, it would be through trade. But what about our own players that we want to keep around? That's definitely something we will need to do. Obviously, McPherson, Van Jefferson, Tommy Townsend, some of our better guys, our starters, we need to offer some contracts to. So let's start doing that. And it actually looks like with this series, at least for some of these guys, they actually are interested in negotiating with us, which is better than how the Ohio-only series started off. So Evan McPherson, we're not going to find a better kicker. So might as well, we would only have 4 more years left after this season, so might as well just offer him a solid contract here, expecting $4.2 million a season. So let's just make it a $4.2 million for 4 years. And we're good at kicker. Van Jefferson is interested in staying with the team. His motivations is to be top of the depth chart, and he's our number 2. Historic championships, the Dolphins have that just from a long time ago. And then head coach, historic win percentage, not really in favor for us, but for the most part, we are good there. So let's might as well just make this a solid offer here. 4 years, $6 million a season. Would be here throughout, and he's excited to sign, so we're good there with at least one of our receivers. Now, Tommy Townsend doesn't currently have any interest in re-signing with us, so we're not even going to offer trying to sign these guys who don't have much interest in us. We'll wait till the offseason. Most likely they'll be brought back in open free agency, but D'Ernest Johnson does have some interest in us. He is 26 years old. I wouldn't want to spend a lot of money at this position, but he's been solid, so we'll offer a solid deal, and he'll sign. Now, Darren Sennett is our number 2 interior defensive tackle. Whenever we go into the run formations, he comes out there, will be 29. I think a 2-year deal would be solid. Might be a little bit more money than I would want to offer, but at least gets the job done. And it wasn't Sheldrick Redwine they were talking about. It's a breakout opportunity for Keanu Neal. We need to hold the 49ers to less than 150 passing yards, or or Keanu needs 2+ interceptions, forced fumbles, tackles for losses, or sacks. And we get blown out of the water 24-9 against, I think it was a 3-8 San Francisco 49ers team. Not very good. In this game, no touchdowns for Jameis Winston, 1 interception, sacked twice, completed less than 50% of his passes. In the running game, okay, 3.6 yards a carry for D'Ernest Johnson, only 2 carries for Devontae Price, but at least averaged 4 yards, something. In the receiving game, Chris Herndon led the team, 83 yards on 5 catches, Traquan Smith, 62 on 4, Van Jefferson, 33 on 3, so not much after the new contract, and then just not much just in general. On defense, led in tackles by Rhodes, Anzalone, and Redwine. For tackles for loss, we have Rhodes, Hendrickson, and Grenard. Hendrickson also had a sack as well as Tart and Phillips. And no interceptions on the day. Did we, have some pass deflections that racked up for anyone? No, not really. So I don't think we're going to get anything there for Keanu Neal either. Evan McPherson, 3 for 3 on field goals, and no extra points were attempted. So that means all of our points were scored by our kicker. So we are now the Miami Cardinal. If you get my reference, you know my pain. So with 5 games still left to go, I'm going to sim us on through to Week 18 where we will watch the full game. And we have finally reached Week 18. And as you could tell, it hasn't been very pretty. Obviously, we lost to the Texans and then lost to the 49ers, which at that point I think they were like 3-8. So you expected to get some wins. We expected to have some wins in the last quarter of the season against some teams that really weren't playing all too well. But we get blown out by the Chargers, 38-14. Pretty handily lost to the Bills, 29-17. Close game against the Packers, and they were another team that I think were 3-13, maybe somewhere around there, playing really bad. They still beat us. And then another close loss to the Patriots, who, did we beat this? We tied. First game of the series was a tie against them. We dropped 6 points to them, so we have not won a game in quite a while. And we'll finish off this season against another team that we would expect to at least have a close matchup against, with the Jets. We've had some opportunities here and there for breakout players. No one's been able to capitalize on it. We've had some injuries. D'Ernest Johnson tore his pec. His season is done. Might even miss some time going into next year as well. So time to jump in here for the one and only game of this episode and see if this team can leave some sort of promising note as we head on into the offseason.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have it doubts, not what I'm about, have your f***ing cloud, it be raining now. I keep making sound, go another round, I'm legend bound, can't stop me now.
And once again, we will be starting on defense. I feel like that's happened pretty much every game we've watched, but, I had to break out the creamsicle uniforms at least once in every season, so why not for the last game? Eckler will start us off with a gain of 5, and I want to say it's Hurts, right, at quarterback? I'm trying to remember from the last time we played him. We passed to that bottom of the screen, caught first down, a little bit past the 40, goes number 83. And that is Seals Jones for the first down. And we have a lot of our backups in like we've had for a majority of the second half of this season. And we'll finally bring down Eckler. It was a solid run, gain of 7. We'll bring up 2nd and 3. The young middle linebacker Evans on the tackle there. As they stretch this one to the top, he tries to cut back but ends up tripping. We'll bring up a 3rd and inches. Shotgun set here for the Jets. Looks like 2 receivers to the top. probably 2 to the bottom. Yep, and there comes in CD Lamb. Coming for a receiver stack. Will be a pass to the bottom, caught and quickly brought down. That is Eckler with the first down, brought down by Xavier Rhodes. And now they'll come out really spread wide here. Trips to the top, one lone receiver, I believe Lamb at the bottom. Will be a pass across the middle of the field, wide open for Lamb. Caught, first down. Quickly brought down by Evans, though. That'll be a gain of 13 as they move into plus territory here. Quick toss to the receiver coming across. And wide open space, escorted out of bounds by Perriman down around the 15. And it was Kyler Murray, that's their quarterback. Close-ish, I guess, to Jalen Hurts, just maybe about a foot of height difference. Will be a stretch to the bottom of the screen, and unfortunately not able to seal the edge. I'm not sure who number 20 is, but he didn't get the job done. On 2nd and 5, another heavy tight end set, 3 to the top of the offensive line. CD Lamb alone as the only receiver on the field. Will be a run, and that might be a touchdown. No, finally brought down at the 1. Melvin Gordon with the rush, brought down by number 20. That is Sheldrick Redwine. We've seen Redwine force some turnovers, got a couple interceptions during his starts, but doesn't seem to be the best tackler. Will be a pass and an easy touchdown. I believe Uzma will give the Jets an early lead in this game. And as we head out on offense, Price in at running back. He started the year as our 4th string running back, but with the injury and us trying to get some of the younger guys out there, he ends up becoming the starter. Nice completion. Going to find Van Jefferson. I believe the first time we've actually watched him play. Gets us up to about the 45. And Jameis Winston has had a very weird season. Over 4,000 passing yards, 25 touchdowns. But he's had 26 interceptions. Valdez-Scantling with the catch there, another first down. And I just have a feeling this team would be so much better if we had half the amount of interceptions that we've had this season. As that one could have been another one. Herndon, intended target, can't hold on to it. Bring up a 2nd and 10. Tight formation, 2 receiver stack at the bottom of the screen. Will be another pass from Winston, going to the bottom and caught. Quick tackle there from the Jets defender. And I could not read what that jersey number was. It was Smith who had the catch, gain of 5. Traquan Smith gets the start on the outside whenever we go to a 3 receiver set. Herndon, tight end, gets the first down for us, down to the 27. The tight end group is definitely one that'll probably be overhauled come the offseason. We might just be rocking with some low overall tight ends and see how well they could do. Winston tried to scramble, throw it away late. Luckily, that didn't count as a fumble. I know Madden can be a little iffy with those. 2nd and 10, 3 receivers down to the bottom, 1 lone up top. Will be a pass again from Winston, and that one easily intercepted by number 32 and brought to about the 44. That is Devin McCourty, and it's what we come to expect with Winston. Unfortunately, like I had mentioned earlier in this episode, we don't have any other option for quarterback. As Florida only, he is the highest rated Florida quarterback. So hopefully next season there'll be a quarterback in the draft that has some promise. CD Lamb gets the Jets into plus territory after that catch. We have plenty of receiver options, even at tight end too, but we don't have a quarterback that could throw some accurate passes. Would the trades be necessary? Gain of 4 on the rush from Eckler, brought down by Tyre Tart as they come out with a heavy-ish 2 tight end set to the bottom. Also have CD Lamb very close in there. Could help block, but will be a pass. We had pass rush coming in, and we drop an INT. That was dropped by Shaquille Griffin. Not that it would have mattered. Grenard with the roughing the passer. So either way, it was going to be a good play for the Jets. It was a dropped interception or a first down with a penalty. They'll find Uzma here, who has their one and only touchdown on the day. We'll give them a first down at the 10. They say first and 10 at the 10, but no first down line to gain marker out there. So I'm going to assume it's actually a first and goal, and there's a tackle for loss. Number 22, Keanu Neal, drops him for a loss of about 3, maybe 3.5 yards. And there we go. Now it updated to 2nd and goal from the 13. Trips to the bottom. Uzma just off the line to the top. We're going to force Kyler to run, and looks like maybe Lamb messed up his own receiver. Wasn't able to squeeze that ball. It will drop 3rd and goal. Kyler going to roll to the top of the screen. Might end up actually running here, and he does. Keanu as well as Anzalone are 2 top tacklers on this team. Will bring him down for 4th and goal. So out comes the field goal unit, kicking from about the 14. We'll call it a 24-yarder. This one is up and looking good. And it is 2-score game, 10-0. And let's see if Winston can do anything better than a turnover to end a drive here. As we have about 6 minutes left in the 2nd quarter, we're going to go underneath to Herndon. We'll get the catch, try to get forward. Good stop from the cornerback, limits it to only a gain of 6. We'll come back out shotgun set, tight formation here. Will be another pass. Another short pass, Herndon once again. I mean, at least this will give him some XP, right? So we'll take it. Twins up top, 1 lone receiver to the bottom. Price in the backfield. Haven't seen him hand the ball off, I don't even think once. He gets the pass catch this time. Get a gain of 8. First time we really see him in any sort of action. Now 2 tight end set comes out, both tight ends at the top of the line. 2 receivers stacked to the bottom. Winston will get the snap, and will be a run down the middle. Price will power through one guy. Maybe if he stayed a little bit more to that left side of the block, wouldn't be such a quick tackle. But either way, 1st down. Will be a actual handoff this time. Number 25 is Homer, and he will get close to the 1st down, and they will actually give it to us. And I want to say last episode, I said that he was a 2nd-year player. I'm pretty sure it's either his 3rd or 4th year. And he maybe has had another touchdown since then. Don't know. But he did have one for us this year. We get down inside the red zone with that catch from Valdez-Scantling. I feel like the first time I've seen us actually in the red zone in a while. Tight shotgun set. Another pass here from Winston. We pick up the blitz. Get it underneath. Van Jefferson with the 1st down. 1st and goal at the 6. And come out empty set. Bunch to the top. 2 receivers at the bottom, including Price, the running back. It will be a quarterback draw, and Winston will slide on in. All right, well, that's how you avoid an interception, by running it. Quarterback draw works to perfection. We're on the board. And with just over 2.5 minutes before half, the Jets offense takes the field. Starting at the 24, they'll go with a handoff. Eckler trying to power through. We'll get about a gain of 4. Now coming out in a strong eye here, a tight strong eye. Will be another pass here. Kyler will throw just before the sack got there. We had a delayed blitz, and he will find his receiver for the 1st down as we will hit the 2-minute warning. So with all 3 timeouts for both teams, shotgun set here for Kyler will be a play, not a play action, a draw. Hand that one off will be about a gain of 5. And then they'll spread it wide here. 2 receivers to the bottom, 1 up top. Another draw play. We'll maybe get him a gain of 1. We'll bring up 3rd and 4. If I was in control, I would have called a timeout here. But trips to the top, tight end just off the line to the bottom. Will be a pass from Kyler, dropped. Kind of want to jump in here after we get the ball on offense at least. And we have 1 minute and 11 seconds with all 3 timeouts to work our way down the field. Try to get some points on the board. We'll start off with a pass. Valdez-Scantling will just get by the DB. Will hit some hurry-up offense here. Try to catch them off guard. Go with a little bit of a run. Price try to get to the outside, and he will kind of run over a guy as well. Land out of bounds, stopping the clock too. Now bring us up a 2nd and 2. Only need about maybe 10 yards for field goal range, but we're looking for 6 points here. And trying to find something breaking open. Winston airmails this one. Not really where he needs. Closer than an airmail, but still not a very accurate pass. 3rd and 2. See if we can maybe get someone to jump, and no one does. Go with a little bit of a draw. Price try to stretch it to the outside. Will truck over a defender and will get us the 1st down, calling our 1st timeout. Haven't gotten to see Price too much, but so far I'm intrigued by what he's able to do here. Go with a bit of play action. And I threw it to the wrong defender. Luckily, Van Jefferson opened. Did I say wrong defender? Wrong receiver. Try to go to a little bit of some hurry up here. Save a little bit of time. Of course, we do still have a couple timeouts. Got a receiver in the back is Nixon, who has the catch, but not the feet down. Man, that was close. I do not need a offensive lineman out there going out on a route. So let's have a delayed tight end release here. Try to toss this one up. Herndon in the end zone, and we're going to need to kick a field goal. So out comes McPherson kicking from the 33. We'll call this a 43-yarder. Would tie the game up as we head into half. And that's exactly what happens, and because of that, you know Madden's not going to work properly, and the Jets will also start the second half with the ball. Pretty sure this has happened in every single one of the action episodes, I would say, this season. So the Jets will start off the second quarter with the ball. Nice rush, gain of 5 here for Eckler. And they'll follow it up going out in a I formation. 2 receivers kind of tight. It will be a play action here for Kyler Murray, who will go towards Eckler, who will get the catch and maybe a yard. And on 3rd and 3, heavy set here for the Jets. 3 tight ends, running back, single running back in the backfield. It will be a handoff to Eckler down the middle, and not enough strength in our defensive line. Tyre Tart will get the tackle, but not after the first down rush. And after going into jumbo, go the opposite here. Looks like maybe 3 receivers to the bottom of the screen. Hard count doesn't get anyone to jump. Kyler will throw to the outside, caught, and that is Uzma for another gain of about 8 yards. Kyler pretty accurate today, 10 of 13. Would like that for my Cardinals franchise. Be a stretch to the bottom. Phillips not able to get around there, but 51 does. Not sure who 51 is. Maybe that's that, yeah, it is. That 3rd/4th-ish string middle linebacker. Evans will get the stop, 3rd and 1. Quick pass caught, first down Uzma. We've given Evans the start in the nickel because he pretty much has the same cover ratings as Perriman. Unfortunately, neither are very high, but we do get a good stop in the backfield here. Is that Grenard? And it is Grenard. First time I've seen him make a play today. He did have the roughing the passer earlier on the dropped INT, so it ended up just being an all-around poor play for us. Eckler will get forward here for a gain of a good chunk. I honestly couldn't remember what the downage was on 2nd down, 3rd and 3. Receiver sent in motion is CD Lamb. Haven't seen him for a few bits, but oh, there's a fumble. That is Osborne, KJ Osborne. Had the catch, took a shot, and Xavier Rhodes recovers. Was a big hit to from Keanu Neal. And Osborne, I'm pretty sure, played at a school in Florida. Could he potentially be coming to our team? Maybe not so if he's fumbling. It's pretty clear that the only turnovers allowed on this team is Winston, and that's strictly because there's no one to put him on a hot seat. Will be a run from here. Price, nice truck and spin move, and then a barrel roll. We'll get forward for a gain of 6. Pretty much our defense has really been the only key to success for us this year, is them slowing down other offenses and allowing our offense to eventually get some points on the board. Find Van Jefferson here for the first down to the 46, maybe, I think not yet to midfield, but close. And yeah, not quite yet to midfield, but we are close. Will be a 1st and 10, 2 receiver set to both sides, and I thought that was about to be a pick, but no. Valdez Scantling gets the catch for another first down. Winston, I think it said 13 of 16 on the day, so he's been pretty accurate too. Just would like to see that every game. Will be a handoff. Price down the middle. Great blocking. How rarely do we say that in this series? Gets forward for about 9.5 yards. Marked it as 2nd and inches. Shotgun set, 2 receivers to the bottom, 1 lone up top, I believe is Valdez. But we instead go to Herndon and he drops it. Well, if they drop a ball, pass, I guess we can eventually too. 3rd and inches, Price down the middle again. Great blocking. Haven't seen some good run blocking much this year, but they're doing it for Price. Maybe because they're trying to find themselves a nice contract for next year. 1st and 10 will be a pass from Winston. We'll find Price on the quick dump off, gain of 5. 167 passing yards today for Winston. Does have the 1 interception. On 2nd and 5 will be a run down the middle, stretch to the top. Price is running well. If he's got some decent blocking, he's doing well. We'll definitely try to keep him around, maybe even look to bring in a higher overall running back as well. Homer in, will get forward for maybe a gain of 2-3 yards. On 2nd and 8, 2 receivers to the top, 1 off the screen to the bottom. But we're not going to run a play. End of the 3rd quarter. We'll head into the 4th with a tie game. We've seen at times this year where this offense has put 21 points on the board in the 4th quarter alone. Would love to see that here as Jameis will find a wide open receiver in the back of the end zone. This time the feet are in, and that is Van Jefferson. First time seeing him get a touchdown in this series. He's had some in the Sims. This one is key. Puts us up with a made PAT, would be 17-10. And now the pressure lies on Kyler Murray. Can he put something together, or will he fold like he did against the Vikings today? Gain of 7 here on the first down rush from Eckler. If you couldn't tell, the time I'm recording this is the same day, the Sunday that the Vikings played the Cardinals. Vikings fashion definitely came down to the end, but a lot of turnovers for the Cardinals late in that game and helped seal the game for the Vikings. I would love to see that here. And we have a 3rd and inches. Last time it was a 3rd and short. They ran over our defensive line, and they do the same here. No one gets to him until about 3-4 yards down past the line to gain. So definitely need to work on some strength on this team. With that fresh set of downs, I'll come out with a 3 tight end set, lone running back. Also 1 lone receiver to the bottom of the screen. Will be a stretch to the top, and we have a couple guys waiting. Anzalone, as well as, I believe, no, it's not JPP. Hendrickson, that's who it is. JPP used to wear 91, right? I'm not crazy there. 2nd and 11 following the loss of 1. Looks like Lamb to the top of the screen, 2 receivers at the bottom. Kyler Murray going to take the snap and will unload the ball to their running back, number 25, Melvin Gordon, if I remember correctly from earlier in this game, got dumped by our DB, maybe. Maybe it was our, no, it was Red Wine. So yeah, our safety, our kind of hybrid safety, can play either of the safety spots. Nice tackle there. 42 and Anzalone combined to end the drive here for the Jets. Or maybe not. They are going for it. 4th and 2, I formation. Run down the middle, and we get the stuff this time. We've been pushed well off the line, and fire this camera guy. I was trying to say is we've been pushed off the line several times in this game. Defense stands tall this time, and now Jameis and Price really need to run out this clock and put the nail in the coffin. And that's definitely something we've seen at least Winston struggle with this year. We'll see if he could do it in the last and final game. Will be another run. Again, great blocking, good enough to get us a first down. 9 rushes on the day, 61 yards for Price. On the fresh set of downs, bunch to the top of the formation. Looks like maybe a receiver close to the line. I doubt there's 2 receivers out there. Didn't have time to count the players, but a run down the middle for Homer for a gain of 6. Another bunch formation, this time to the bottom of the formation. Can you say formation can you say formation more in such a quick amount of time? Probably. 3rd and 1 after the short run will be a trips to the top of the screen. Looks like Homer's still in at running back, and he'll get the handoff. Got a lead blocker, and the lead blocker didn't do anything, but we still got the first. Now under 2.5 minutes left on the clock. Both teams still have 3 timeouts. A spread formation here, as we will wait till about 2 seconds left on the play clock before handing it off. Marlon Mack checks in for his first rush, gain of 2. And there's the 2-minute warning. Expect the Jets to start calling their timeouts as we come out here in a heavy set. Will be a run from Homer to that weak side, and we'll get close, making it a 3rd and manageable. And on 3rd and 3, this could help put the game away. 2 receivers to the bottom, 2 tight ends. And it'll be a run down the middle. Homer will stretch for it, and he should have it. And indeed he does. 2nd timeout called for the Jets. They have 1 more remaining. And we'll stay in a heavy formation here. 3 tight ends all to the top of the screen. Homer in the backfield. We're going to bring over Jimmy Graham to the bottom side. Does he become a lead blocker? Yes, he does. Homer should have stuck to the outside. That was a touchdown waiting to happen, but we do force the Jets to call their last timeout. And you could pretty much kneel out the clock, but instead we're going to looks like we're at least going to run the ball here. Might be the same play we just ran. 2nd and 6. It would be, same play we just ran. This time the Jets do much better, and Homer goes nowhere, maybe a gain of 1. He will run at least one more play here. Will be a pass. Caught, no, dropped, almost intercepted, and that stops the clock. Field goal unit out McPherson to make it a 2-score game with 1 minute, 1 second left. No timeouts remain for the Jets, and we go with a fake. Pass, caught, touchdown. Big man scores, number 70. Morgan comes in as the holder, and we pass it to our backup tackle in Irving to put the season away for both these teams. Okay, let's end on that. And who would have thought Tim Tebow would end up calling a fake field goal at the very end? I mean, why not? You're already up 7. No timeouts remain for the Jets. It's not like if you win, you go to the postseason. So we make something out of it. And that something out of it very might well end up being the thumbnail of this video. And who had Big Man scoring the final touchdown of the season? Because if you did, you just won a lot of money. But, well, the season, year 1, has come to an end. We finish 5-11-1. In a weird way, I think one of the best season ones. I feel like in most of the other series, I don't think we've won more than 4 games in the first year. So take that as you will. But let's finish off this episode simming on into the postseason, and we'll take a look at the final stats and say goodbye to season 1 and get ready for season 2, primarily focused obviously on the offseason. So we end the year with the 29th overall offense and 6th defense. Like I said, the defense actually played pretty well. Offense just needs to put some more points on the board. Just to be straight up about it. They just need to play better and limit their turnovers. Jameis Winston ends with 4,350 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 27 interceptions. He threw more interceptions than he did touchdowns this year. And I think that was a big reason that we had such a bad offense. And he only completed 63% of his passes. In the rushing department, kind of ended up being spread out a little bit towards the end. But Ernest Johnson was our primary running back, and he ran for 544 yards, averaging 3.3 yards a carry, 6 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. Winston had 3 rushing touchdowns and a fumble, so technically he finished with more touchdowns than turnovers. Still not great. Price got to run around a little bit towards the end. He also ends with 3.3 yards a carry. Did have 3 touchdowns. Homer had a touchdown as well. Also 3.3 yards a carry. And Jimmy Graham had a rushing touchdown, I believe, early in the first episode of action. So I guess episode 2. In the receiving game, Marquez Valdez-Scantling barely surpasses 1,000 yards. 1,008. He did have 7 touchdowns for us. Behind him, Traquan Smith was our number 2 with 623 yards on 48 catches. Only 1 touchdown, though. Herndon came in strong that second half after we brought in the backups. 547 yards on 48 catches for 6 touchdowns. Trey Nixon got some playing time as well and proved that he is a solid guy that we need to try to develop. 3 touchdowns for him, 516 yards. Van Jefferson really didn't have as big of an impact as I would have assumed he would have. 464 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he did spend a lot of the year injured. T.Y. Hilton was solid for us early on. I don't imagine us bringing him back. Granted, I think he's still under roster, or still under contract, so we might end up trading him this offseason. 406 yards, 2 touchdowns. Akins had a touchdown. Ernest Johnson had a touchdown, same as Marlon Mack, and then 2 for Jimmy Graham. So actually, both of our tackles, right tackles, somehow, I guess, Jawan Taylor was injured for about half the year. So Irving was starting. He did have the touchdown there at the end. But both of him and Humphreys had 8 sacks given up. Jawan Taylor gave up 7, 6 for Ryder, 4 for Flowers, and 3 for Feliciano, who also missed a good chunk of time When he was out, Jonathan Harrison was playing and he gave up 2. On defense, though, Alex Anzalone leads the team in tackles by 26, the next up being Keanu Neal. No surprise there. And we were living in team's backfield for quite a good chunk of the season. Hendrickson finishes with 17 tackles for a loss, Tyler Tart with 14, and Grenard, who really only played half this season, 10. Keanu Neal also had 8, as well as Jalen Phillips, who played pretty well this season. Anzalone and Perriman both had 6 tackles for a loss, and then 2 for Rhodes, Evans, Burns, and Pierre-Paul, and then 1 for Redwine, Thomas, Dunlap, and Sennett. In the sack department, we were led by Trey Hendrickson with 10.5, so we at least had one guy with double-digit sacks. Grenard and Phillips both had 6. So technically Grenard had the better season considering he played much less time than Phillips did. Tyler Tart and Keanu Neal, as well as Dunlap, each had 2.5 sacks, 1 for Jason Pierre-Paul, and then half of a sack for Thomas and Pierre. And 3 interceptions for Xavier Rhodes, not too bad for the vet. 2 for Redwine, again only playing half the year. Shaquille Griffin had 2, as well as LaMarcus Joyner. And then Keanu Neal, Alex Anzalone, Denzel Perriman, and Quinton Dunbar each had 1. And we actually forced 8 fumbles this year, so about half a fumble a game, with Denzel Perriman, probably who you would expect, forcing 4 of them himself, and then Xavier Rhodes, Keanu Neal, Hendrickson, and Kando all forced ones. However, of those 8 forced fumbles, we only ended up recovering 5 of them, 2 for Perriman, 2 for Rhodes, and 1 for JPP. And McPherson definitely had an iffy year this year, but he's the best kicker available for us, so we'll keep him around. We gave him a solid contract, 16 of 20 on field goals, 38 of 39 on extra points. And if you like punting stats, Tommy Townsend averaged 46 yards a punt. So that leaves us here, the end of season 1. I hope you guys enjoyed and you're excited to see what we could do this next offseason, who we bring in, who we let go, who maybe retires. So make sure you stick around. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you're hitting that subscription button and ticking that bell notification so that way you're notified of when these videos go live. This series posted every Wednesday and Saturday. My traditional Madden franchise that I play with the Cardinals is posted on Monday and Thursday. So if you want some more football action, make sure you check that one out as well. And until next time, see you guys later. Bye.